guys, Adam here, and today we're going to be reacting to Irate Gamer, and this will be Series 1, Episode 3, and this will be Goonies 2 on the NES. So, yeah, a couple of things that are interesting about this one. Firstly, I didn't know there was a Goonies 2, although I'm sure I read that they were planning on making a second film, but just never really came off, and then I think they were planning on... It's one of those where it's a bit like, you know, the Ghostbusters, talking of doing a Ghostbusters and bringing all the original guys back. And I think they kind of looked at that a few times with Goonies and maybe tried to mull over a Goonies 2, but never really came off. It may or may not have been for the best. But yeah, and also NES, which, yeah, I never really had that one as a kid. I did have one. I had an NES very briefly, weirdly. I kind of got into a spell where I was kind of very early teens, or maybe what you would now call your tweens, kind of 11, 12, 13, something in that range. And I was sort of chopping and changing my computers like 1.0 with my mates, with guys who ran shops and stalls and things. And I did actually at one point temporarily own a Nintendo Entertainment System. After, weirdly, I'd owned a Mega Drive and a Master System and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, by that point, it was a little bit like, ooh, yeah. It was interesting. I mean... Had I known the full library of it, I mean, I'm a big fan of the NES now. I love it playing it via emulation. But yeah, at the time, it's kind of a little bit of a shock having gone from the Mega Drive to that. So, but anyway, I digress. This is all about Irate Gamer Response. So, let's react now to Goonies 2 NES Video Game Review, Series 1, Episode 3, Irate Gamer. Let's go.
Goonies 2.
Hopefully he's done some research and we'll learn about Goonies 2.
I love the movie so much, I had to rush out and get the video game. But as much as I love the movie, I just had the exact opposite reaction towards this game. Now before we even begin with the review, there's one thing that must be addressed. And that's the title of this game, which is called Goonies 2. Now, already I'm confused. So is this supposed to be a sequel to a movie? If this is the case, then I've got to admit, for a sequel of a big-time Hollywood movie to only be available on a video game format is just amazing.
You get the wrong note, we'll all be flat.
So if that isn't the case, then it's got to be option 2, that this game is just a sequel to a previous video game. So if there is a Goonies 1 video game floating around out there, then I insist on playing that one first. I mean, what's worse than having to play your video games out of order?
Oh, right, so there isn't actually a Goonies 1 game then.
I would play Castlevania 3 before Castlevania 1. The very thought of doing such a thing is just sickening. And I think it's punishable by death in a couple of countries. Fuck. But I've been to a lot of video game stores in my time, and I never once saw Goonies 1 sitting on any retail shelves. So maybe, just maybe, there's a third option to this enigma. Maybe someone just royally fucked up the numbering system on this game.
Possible.
I mean, this could be the same exact thing that happened to the Donkey Kong video games. Allow me to explain.
First, there was the popular Donkey Kong video game, which became an instant classic. Then after that, Donkey Kong Jr. came out. This time you played as Donkey Kong's son. Then a few years later, out of nowhere comes Donkey Kong 3. How did this happen? Just what the hell happened to Donkey Kong 2? So, are we just picking numbers at random here? Or is Donkey Kong Jr. supposed to be the missing link here?
I think it is, but
if that's the case,
should have been in the name, really,
shouldn't
it?
Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong 2?
Donkey Kong
It would
Jr.,
make a lot
yeah.
more sense than skipping directly from number 1 to number 3.
Yeah.
In the long
Yeah,
run,
it's a fair comment.
doing this kind of shit just messes everything up and confuses everyone in the process.
Yeah.
So now it's time for us to answer this question. What exactly is the real reason for calling this game Goonies 2? Well, there actually was a Goonies 1 video game, and this is the sequel. But guess what? The game was only released in Japan. How come it always seems like we're getting fucked in the ass when it comes to game selection here in America?
Yeah, it's a big American film, isn't it?
Shit.
That's weird.
Now, when you first start Goonies 2, you'll see the bad guys from the movie appear, and they'll tell you that they've broken out of jail and
It's actually not bad animation for the NES there.
Annie? Who the hell's Annie?
Taking Annie.
Was she in the film?
Come back, Annie.
Well, I've got the DVD, and I know for a fact she's not in it.
Yeah, there's no Annie in the Goonies.
So now begs the question, why does Mikey have to rescue her? Doesn't this town have any police officers to do this kind of work? And during the game, you also have to go around and help your other Goonies friends to escape. So how the hell did they end up getting kidnapped? You know, a little backstory would have helped here.
Yeah.
Because this video game storyline is more confusing than the fucking title.
But again, that's...
Now, Goonies 2 is a very hard game to play. No, let me rephrase that. Goonies 2 is a very hard game to figure out. First off, there are no stages or levels to advance. And you just have to wander around aimlessly collecting items and trying to figure out where you can use them. Now, the main thing you'll be doing in this game is collecting items like a hammer, some scuba gear, glasses, and using them in rooms like this in order to find hidden objects. And that becomes a whole
Kind of an
other
adventure
process
game,
too. Anything here? No.
These bits are very adventure game-ish.
Okay,
Almost
let's
text
try the
adventure
hammer on
style.
this wall.
Graphic adventures.
Nope. Now how about this wall? Okay, let's try this
Bit
room.
laborious though, isn't it?
What the fuck? It would be more enjoyable to rip the hair out of my ass than to play this game. Now, most of the time, using a hammer on these walls reveals huge doors behind them. I guess whoever put up the drywall in this house really fucked up big time.
Now look at here, another Goonie to rescue. You're braver than Brand? What the fuck
Who's
is
Brand?
that supposed to mean? I can honestly say I've never heard this term used in my entire
Thank you,
life.
Mikey. You're braver than
This
Brand.
game pisses me off.
But let's talk about these rooms for
Braver
a
than
second.
Brand.
Half the time, they don't even make no sense at all. Now, when you push the up button on your control pad, the most logical action would be for your character to move forward. But sometimes pushing up on the control pad moves you backwards right out of the fucking room.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Can we at least keep some consistency in this game?
But that's not all that doesn't make sense. On this screen, you'll see a gaping chasm to the right. If you fall into it, you die a horrible death. Now wait a minute.
Over here is a ladder leading down to the next screen below. The exact same location where my character just died. I mean, there's nothing dangerous down here but another floor. I'm not sure why your character just can't fall down to the next screen below. Fuck! Now, there are a lot of ladders and vines in this game that you'll have to end up climbing. But the downside is you can't use your weapons while you're on them. So when a bird or an enemy is coming at you, you've just got to sit there like a bitch and take it. What the fuck?
Now, another thing that doesn't make any sense is when you die, you end up losing all the keys you've collected. I'm not sure why they chose to do this, but it just pisses me off when I really need one.
Damn it. I
You
just
can't
had 6
use-
keys a minute ago. One of the greatest things about this game is the ability to hit people. Or to smack them with your trusty hammer. Like this old, defenseless woman. What could be better than smashing your hammer into her old, wrinkled face? Yeah, take that! And that. And that.
Ouch. What do you
What did
do?
she just say? What do you do? That doesn't make sense. Does she mean, what did you do?
Yeah.
I can't even take pleasure in beating her up because some asshole forgot to proofread this game. And how do you miss something like this? Every character in the game says this line if you hit them.
So
it
it's
just
not
totally
like a...
flips my
yeah.
shit. Now, after you've saved all your friends, you can now go and save Annie. So, after saving Annie,
Annie's a
we find out that
mermaid.
she's not even a Goonie at all, but a mermaid.
Boy, whose stupid fucking idea was this? This ending makes no sense whatsoever.
Now, after you save Annie, a news reporter appears on the screen and tells you that Annie has been saved and the bad guys have been arrested. Excuse me, but aren't we missing the bigger story here? Annie's a fucking mermaid! Shouldn't this be the top news story for today? I gotta say that finding a mermaid would be a pretty groundbreaking event.
It would, yes.
But just like this game, this ending makes no sense whatsoever. So, I'm gonna be like Mike, and I'm gonna use that hammer he collected and beat the shit out of this game.
Cool. Let's see if I've caught that last time, because if you watched my previous video, you'll know that my editing was all over the place at the end there. I think I've just kind of caught that one. Yeah. I'm used to filming stuff's videos kind of ends and then there's credits and then there's always a little bit at the end, so I'm used to sort of holding on for that bit. IG's videos just go bang and you're done, so yeah, a bit crazy editing. Yeah, Goonies 2 then. I mean, I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a sucker. I like stuff like this. I like the idea of being able to, run with something and create a sequel when maybe there wasn't a sequel, if that makes sense. Clearly, you would be making a sequel if there wasn't a sequel. Yeah, what I mean is, like, in this case, it's Goonies 2. So, like, you could have a... I'm trying to think of a film now. I'm not going to be able to produce one, am I? I don't know. But any film, if Back to the Future hadn't have had sequels, then maybe a Back to the Future 2 game would have been pretty cool. I don't know. Maybe not. I think I'm just waffling. Yeah, okay. But that looks pretty cool. The game didn't actually look all that bad. But yeah, it was just sort of typical of its time again. These games back in the day, they were really hard. That was part of the sales factor, bizarrely. And also, yeah, they just had total... just knowing... I mean, these days, when you do a game or something, it's usually pretty faithful to the source material. Back then in the 80s and 90s, it was just... You got a title of something well known, you put it on a game, and away you went. The game characters, the bad guys in particular. I mean, half the time they're so just nothing to do with the original film that it's just nuts. But yeah. Anyway, cool. I enjoyed that. So yeah, if you enjoyed that too, then like, subscribe, and give us a comment. Let me know if there's anything you want me to watch. Okay, but that's it for now, guys. So until next time, peace.